All right. So the very first thing is to kind of understand the idea of abundance itself. Okay. So uh, I would say, like, a very good definition of abundance that I've come across is something that I've heard from Bashar, which is the ability to do what you need to do when you need to do it. And that's it, right? It doesn't necessarily talk about money. Like, money is a legitimate form of abundance in our planet right now. But what happens is that when we lose perspective of that, right, we end up taking the harder path. Like, we end up making things more difficult for ourselves. What do I mean by that? Well, what happens is that when we have an insistence of how abundance should actually come into our life, then let's say, like, if that's you and you are at point A, and where you want to get to is point B, and there's like hundreds of different ways to get to point B. If you insist that this is the only way, like, the only way I can reach point B is if I make X amount of money, and then I will use this money in order to, like, buy the things that I want to buy and acquire and get all the services that I want to get. What you're doing is you're eliminating all of these other options that exist. And the thing is, the universe knows better than you that which option is actually the easiest and the path of least resistance. And let's say option number 3 uh, is is the path of least resistance for you. What happens is that when we are insisting, right, when we are insisting that this is the only way to go about doing things, like, the only way I can actually have something in my life is when I should have money to buy those things. So I'm not saying that financial abundance is not a legitimate form of abundance. It is just a subset of abundance, right? There are many other forms of abundance within abundance. And our insistence that financial abundance is the only way for us to get the things that we want creates this problem in our life, which ends up eliminating these other options for us, which is actually very counterproductive to us. Okay. So now, what do I mean by this? Well, I can give you an example. I can tell you a little story. So in my previous job, like, I was actually doing corporate training workshops. So I was working for this company called Focus Adventure. And I joined this company after I quit Pepsi because, like, so my job in Pepsi was like, I really did not enjoy it. It was like really bad. Uh, and like, I actually took a pay cut because, like, Pepsi was paying me a really good salary. And I left that because I didn't enjoy it so much. And I took a pay cut and I joined this other organization, which was doing stuff which is far more enjoyable for me, which was okay. Like, I've a competitor. No, Nandini says, like, she worked for Coke. So we were like competitor companies, and now both of us have, like, switched gears completely, right? But so one of the things that happened when I moved from Pepsi to Focus is, even though, like, I took a pay cut, like, what it provided me was abundance in many different forms. For example, one of the things that happened at that point in my life is that Focus was like, they were doing these corporate training workshops for all these different organizations. And as soon as you leave your house, it's like, as soon as you get out in order to, like, for a workshop, like, I was living in Gurgaon at that time, and let's say there's a workshop that's happening in Jaipur. As soon as I leave my house, like, everything is like built to company. Like, I can take any taxi I want, I can buy anything, and it's like, and all the offsites, Like, like anyone who's worked in a corporate knows that, they do one offsite or two offsites usually just one, right? And where they take all their employees to like a really nice fancy place, right? All nice five-star hotels, and they spend a huge amount of money. Now, but the thing is, like, if they take their employees to this place, well, then mostly what the employees are going to do is just get together and bitch about the company. And the company is thinking, man, okay, we're spending like so many crores, like literally crores, to take these guys for an offsite, and they're just going to get drunk and bitch about the company. So that sucks. So that is why they would hire somebody like us, so that we can help people play some games and have fun and do these things and all that stuff. But as a side effect of that, what happened for me was that though I had a house in Gurgaon, like out of 30 days in a month, like practically for like 24 to 26 days, I was traveling for workshops. And so most of the time would either be in traveling, or for, let's say, for 20 days in a month, I would be living in resorts, like the best, most beautiful resorts in the country, like all over the place, like so many in Goa, in Jaipur, in Udaipur, like in just like in, like wherever you like, because wherever the company is doing the offset, that's where we go. And as soon as you leave home, everything is like built to company. And now here's what would happen. It's like, and because it was new for me at that time, it was like a bit fascinating. So we would sometimes we have a flight at say 5:30 in the morning, right? And I would like reach the airport, and my teammates would also reach the airport, and we would like check in, do our baggage, everything. And it's like at 5 a.m., I see people from my team, they're buying a bucket of chicken wings at KFC, right? And they'll buy like this big like cafe latte, some stuff from Starbucks or whatever, because everything is like built to company, right? Because Deloitte is going to pay for this, or BCG is going to pay for this, McKinsey is going to pay for this. Like, it's not coming out of your pocket. You just spend whatever you want. We have this app called Expensify. You just take a picture of the bill, you put it on Expensify, and everything just gets billed back to you. Like, all the cash comes back. And so, like, people are spending like 800 rupees, 1000 rupees at 5 a.m., right? And this was an opportunity that was given to me, right? And then, of course, like, wherever you go, like whichever resort you're staying in, like at the very least, it's like 5 to 10K per day. Like 5K is like the cheapest of the cheapest places. Like 10K per day is like very normal rate, right? So even though it's like I quit one job and I like my salary was like reduced by a considerable, let's say 40% pay cut that I got, like the amount of money that was being spent on my experience of life just went up by a huge margin. It's just it didn't hit my bank account. Like somebody is paying for everything, right? And so like now I go to Zuri in Goa, I go to like Taj Kakatiya or like wherever, it's like in any of the ITC. And of course, like when you go for doing these workshops, like the HR would have already spoken to the hotel or the resort, and the menu is like prepared, everything is done. And so you go for like breakfast, lunch, dinner, and there's like 20, 30 varieties of sweets, just sweets. Like there's like 10 varieties of Indian sweets. There's like, 5 varieties of ice creams. There's like, 6 varieties of, just pastries and all kinds of things, right? And so in the beginning, when I got all of this access, it was really amazing. I was like, man, what the fuck? This so good, right? And then I would like start binging on all kinds of stuff, because like I wanted to eat all these ice creams, I wanted to eat these pastries. It's like there were times I remember, like I'm doing a workshop, first thing, okay, like I go for lunch and I'll just skip all the food, I'll just go straight to the sweets. And like I start my lunch with ice cream, because it's like a buffet. No, like no one can stop you, you can eat as much as you want, right? But now here's the thing, after doing this stuff for about like few months, like just even like 2 months, 3 months, right? At the end of those 3 months, my desire for these things just plummeted completely. Like I had zero, like, no, it's like I would go to a place and I would look at all these like beautifully laid out pastries and ice creams and just like, and I would look at that and be like, oh man, I don't want that. Because I was like, I could experience physically what is this stuff doing to me on the inside. And I was like craving just simple stuff. Like I just really wanted to eat sambar rice. That's it. It's like, man, I just want to eat sambar rice. That's it. It's like, and so which is what happened. Like, though I had this, like, and I'm really grateful that I got to have this experience, because what it showed me is what is not really desirable. Because rather than being stuck in a trap where it's like, oh, I need to like now earn say 5 lakhs a month in order to like afford this lifestyle, like, okay, maybe the 5 lakhs is not coming to my account directly. It's not like it comes to my account and then I spend 5 lakhs in order to like get all of these things. uh okay, Nandini wants me to stop screen share. Sure. Any reason for that, Nandini?
Just to be able to see you, because you were talking, you had
Oh,
finished
okay. Okay.
writing that part. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. So so that's the thing, it's like, so in that time what I realized is that these are not things which are really giving me the satisfaction that I need. And the other point to understand is that abundance can come in so many different ways. Because what you really want as a soul, as consciousness, the one who is experiencing this dimension, this reality, is you want to have the richness of life. And the richness of life is in the experiences that you're having. And often what happens is we lose sight of that. Like we forget the purpose of money itself, because money is just an arbitrary tool. It's a measure of information. It's a form of energy. Yes. And like anyways, it doesn't matter. It's like another thing I've said many times is that we are in a video game. And just the way like not every, but most video games have some form of money, this game also has some money. But the purpose of that is to maximize your experience of life. And when we lose sight of that, then sometimes, as I said, what happens is because of our insistence, we are eliminating all the other pathways. Yes. So, one of the things that we can do is to learn not to insist about the way in which that abundance has to actually come into your life. Your job is to just let the universe know what is it that you would like to have. What are the experiences that you would like to enjoy, and what are the experiences that you would like to experience. And like if you would like to live in resorts, because for whatever reason that's like been in my life a lot. Like even after I went to Koda, I was like living in a resort for like 2 years and stuff. Somehow somewhere I manifested it. And but the thing is, like, it doesn't necessarily have to happen in your existing model of how it has to be. Like in order to live in resorts, in order to have a certain experience, you don't necessarily have to spend like 3 lakhs a month or 5 lakhs a month. It's possible that you might actually get that experience for free. So that's the first thing. It's like about abundance, the ability to do what you need to do when you need to do it. And that's about it. And financial abundance is definitely a legitimate form of abundance, but we must just keep it at that. It's like it's legitimate, but it should not be blown out of its proportion. It shouldn't be given too much value, because when that happens, when we give it too much value, it kind of takes the fun out of life. It takes that essence, that juice out of why you're doing what you're doing. Yes. And I would say one of the best ways in which you can have the most fun and juice out of life is through actually giving, right? And this is because really it's like, when you really start sharing your unique gifts with the world, right? So what happens is that often we are caught in this trap where, let's say there's the universe and that's you. There is this cycle of, say, receiving from the universe and giving to the universe, because both of these things have to happen. Like there has to be a flow of energy between you and the universe. It cannot be a one sided thing, right? Because any relationship, whether it's a relationship between a husband and a wife, whether it's a relationship between a mother and a daughter, whether it's a relationship between brothers, whether it's a relationship between a company and its employees, like all relationships have to have giving and receiving. There has to be a balance between the two. At any point in any relationship, when that balance is lost, right, when there is like when it gets skewed to either too much on one side, too much on the other side, like what happens usually is that relationship breaks apart. Now, one of our fundamental relationships in life is our relationship with the universe. And and this is a point that I've maintained like again and again multiple times in many different ways, in many different forms, that this is your primary relationship in life. As soon as we understand that to the core, right? Because your husband is a part of the universe, your friend is a part of the universe, your company is a part of the universe, like your clients are a part of the universe, uh, your vendors are a part of the universe. Like everyone that you're interacting with is a subset of the universe, right? They're little pieces within the universe. And so your fundamental relationship is with the universe. And so when you stop looking at your clients as clients and you can just see them as the universe, and when you can see everyone as the universe, it can actually rebalance the way we interact and the way we interface with the world, right? And the shift that can happen, and this is a shift that can make the biggest transformation in your life, is when the first thing that you focus on is giving instead of receiving. Yes. And when you realize that the receiving is a natural function, it is bound to happen, right? But giving is the most important thing that you have to focus on. Now, what do I mean by this? Like, what are you giving? Well, obviously, since the universe has everything in it, you are also part of the universe. Well, what you can actually give, the truest value, is you can give your own unique gifts. Each and every one of us has our own unique gift. Like you exist, right? Now, that is a very important statement. Like it's important for us to understand what is the meaning of that. Like you exist in this moment in time. You are alive, right? And so that has a deep significance because, like, without the approval of the universe, you would not be able to even breathe. You would not be alive on this planet. You would not be. One second, I'll just put everyone on mute. Yeah, without the approval of the universe, like you would not be alive on this planet right now. The fact that you're still alive, and it doesn't matter, it's like somebody might live until they're 103 years old, somebody might live until they're 55 years old, somebody might live until they're like 10 years old, somebody might be alive only for 6 months. Happens, right? Like there's some people who are born on this planet and they leave within 6 months for whatever reason. I mean, I don't claim to know it, but whatever agreements that soul has with the universe and with existence and all of that stuff, somewhere some decision has been made that this soul has to leave within the first 6 months of its life. So the fact that you're still alive means that there is a purpose for your existence. It means that there is something really valuable that is your responsibility to share with the world, right? And like on this topic of giving, let me give you one more idea, right? Like imagine if you meet a stand-up comedian somewhere and he says something like, hey, sorry, I can't be funny right now because no one's paying me for being funny. Yeah, like that's not a comedian. Because you see, a comedian's job is to be funny all the time. Like you see, your job starts way before you ever get a gig to perform on a stage. Like like someone who is eventually going to be a stand-up comedian, they would be making their friends laugh their ass off when they're in school. Like I remember when I was like 11, 12 years old, like I was in Dushanbe, my dad got posted to this country called Tajikistan. I was there for 2 years and I had like this Nepali friend of mine called Nischal Oli. And so he used to tell me these non-veg jokes. Okay. And like they at that time in my life, they were like the funniest things I'd ever heard. Like all these like sex jokes he'd be telling me like the whole day, and I'd be pestering him the whole day. I'd be like, or bata, it's like, and I used to be like, so we used to speak in Hindi, and I used to like like I'd be like, abe sale kutte, like that was my very standard way of like just referring to him, calling him, right? And I used to say this so much that all my Tajik friends, my Russian friends, like they would also like call us like abe sale kutte, and so, but the thing is, like, like at that point in our life, nobody cared about money, right? Because the humor is the thing. And so, while this seems so obvious now when I talk about it from the point of view of a comedian, because of course, like, nobody might be paying you when you're 12 years old and you're making your friends laugh. But what is happening is at that point, you're improving your skills. Because if you think that you're going to wait until you're 21 years old and then finally start going to like some place and then somebody is going to like pay you like 5,000, like, be the valuation of my time is like 15,000 rupees per hour, bro. It's like, fucking, if you're paying me less than that, I ain't showing up, right? Like, sure, I get it that I'm the one who's been telling you to value your time, right? But I'm also like telling you these paradoxical things. Like on one side, I say, hey, value your time at least like 20K per hour. And on another side, I'm also saying like fucking give stuff away for free, right? So, so yeah, but that's how life is. Life is a paradox. You have to live with both the sides equally. And you see, the giving of your gift serves the important function of improving your value, increasing your value, because like you see, that is how you hone your skills. Like if you're a writer, you can't be waiting until somebody will sign a contract and commission you to start writing a book. You have like, even if nobody is reading what you're writing, you still need to write. If not even one person in the world is reading what you write, you still need to write, because if that is your gift that wants to explode out of your heart and wants to come out into the world, then that's what you need to do, right? And that is why focusing on giving is the first and most important step. And like the receiving happens naturally, right? Of course, there are like certain like principles and strategies and all of those things that we are talking about like every now and then. And, we can get into like lead magnets and different kinds of lead magnets and different delivery vehicles. But we must understand that all of that is a subset of the fundamentals, right? Because strategy built on top of nothing is what a corporation is, right? That's the soulless entity that most people feel like, hey, man, that's what I want to get out of, right? And so it's not our intention to create the same thing again. So at the foundation of everything that we're doing, like, has to be love, has to be giving of our unique gift to the world. And that is why we're really here. Okay, now on this topic of giving, let me share another perspective with you guys. Let me share another idea. Okay. So that's you, and you have your unique gifts to share with the world. Yeah. And for whatever reasons, what you're doing is you're blocking yourself because your head is full of all kinds of garbage ideas. You're blocking yourself from sharing your unique gift with the world, right? But now let me give you a thought experiment where imagine for a moment that you are the universe. Yes. Just like get out of your own sense of self, your identity with your body, your identity with the ego, and you just imagine that you are the entire universe. You're just a small little piece of the entire universe. And when this piece gets extinguished, right, when this little piece finally dies out, imagine for a moment that rather than thinking about money, rather than thinking about like a swimming pool or a resort or a holiday or a this or a that or anything, that the only possible regret that this little piece that just got extinguished out of existence could have is that, hey man, I didn't give everything that I could possibly give to the world because I'm the whole thing, right? Like I'm this little piece in this whole thing, and all of it is me. And before this little thing kind of is done with its life cycle, did this little piece just give every piece of value that it possibly could give to the rest of the whole? Because it's like once this piece is extinguished, once you're dead as you, it doesn't matter. You're still here. You're still here. You're still here. You're still here. All of that is you. Like, could you be in that state of existence? Could you imagine for a moment that every baby that is born today is you? Right? And and from that point of view, when you see it that ways, then the only regret that you could possibly have when you die is that, hey, I didn't share all my gifts. Because you're not going to die. Where else will you go? You're just shifting your experiences, right? It's like you might stop existing as Prab, but then you will experience this dimension through, you know, 1,000 different points of view. And as long as we're attached to this identity of Vishnu, and I'm thinking that, oh man, like as Vishnu, I need this car and I need this thing, or it's like, oh, this is not happening, that's not happening. And oh, for whatever reason, like if I just hold on to like my gifts and I'm like, hey, I'm not sharing my gifts with the world, right? And so that is the biggest tragedy that could possibly happen. So now if we think of it that ways, right? If we forget about everything else and if we say that, it's like the biggest possible tragedy of my life could be that in the moment I die, I would feel that, oh man, I didn't share everything that I possibly could share with the world. Like I didn't exhaust my gifts, I didn't die empty handed, right? Like you see, like every child that is born, like comes into this planet with their fist closed. It's like they're bringing a treasure into this dimension. They have this treasure in their hand. And when you die with your fist open because you have no energy. All is lost. So, anyways, all is going to be lost. But, like, what did you do in the meantime? Like, did you just give it your all? Not from this like frantic, like, oh my God, like, fucking, we got to pay our taxes and we have to like make this much money and we do this and that. And all. Like, no, it's like, we are a gamer, right? You are God already. You are a divine being that's incarnated as this just to have fun. You are an unlimited being who has put limits on yourself to see how awesome you are. Like how you can perform in the most limited set of circumstances. Like how can you chain yourself as much as you can possibly imagine and still have your awesomeness shine through? right? And that is why we are here. That is why we are like, in this experience. And yeah, so that's another thing that I wanted to like share with you guys. Yes. Now, another thing that I've been like talking about, like this is something that we were covering last week as well. We are talking about how our emotions kind of like guide us and stuff. And it's like, so I wanted to like touch upon this point also again, which is on the idea of frequency control. Okay. Now, what do I mean by frequency control? Well, as I've been telling you guys, like essentially, like every thought and every emotion that you have, that's my representation of a wave, right? So when I'm talking about waves, I'm literally just talking about waves, right? So this is a like on top, this is a wave which has a high frequency. What does high frequency mean? It just means that within a certain distance, there is more number of waves, right? In this distance, like in the wave two, you might have like, two waves. And thanks, Ash. As you can see, I'm like the most artistic person there is, right? So, yeah, so you can see like high frequency is when you have more waves in the same length, right? And low frequency is when you have less waves in the same length. And so when I'm talking about like emotions, when I'm talking about like, feelings, and I'm talking about thoughts and all those things, what I'm fundamentally referring to is the frequency itself. That is what I mean, right? And what I've been telling you guys is depending on the frequency that you emit, what happens is you resonate with another potential reality. And that potential reality, as a subset, has people, situations, circumstances, all kinds of things, right? And so, for whatever reason, when we find ourselves in a low frequency state, we are just attracting lower frequency things into our life. And it is our job to shift from here to here. Now, we could be stuck here for many different reasons. Like, we might have a lot of, like, we might have mental patterns inside us, like stuff that we picked up from our childhood, it's like from our parents, from society, from school, from education, from college, all kinds of things. Now, it is our job to free ourselves from those patterns so that we can exist at a higher frequency. Or you can use like other tools and techniques, like it's like you could just you could dance first thing in the morning. Like you get up, you start playing some music, and then you're dancing in front of the mirror, and you're like blowing kisses to yourself. And it's like whatever your technique, whatever you need to use in order to like raise your frequency and be at the highest possible state, you do that. Like whether it is getting rid of your addictions, whether it is reprogramming your mind, whether it is like listening to the best kind of music, whether it is hanging out with the best people, whether you're chilling and playing with dogs. And like in order to enjoy the love of a dog, you don't really need to get a dog. It's like I have dog friends in the colony where I live. Like because like I've had dogs in the past, like my own dogs. It's like I had one German Shepherd who lived for like 10, 12 years. And then I had like these two indie dogs, and I had cats and all those things. And eventually I realized, man, I don't now want to be in a position where I will get my own dogs anymore. I can just make friends, because I don't see the point of having a pet. I'm less like we're all fellow beings. To me, the God is also like the dog is also divine, right? The same thing. It doesn't make any difference. It's just the same divine that is manifesting in different forms. And so over here, when I go to play table tennis, there's like this small black dog that just comes to where we are playing table tennis. And like we give her some biscuits and we play with her and like whatever. And it's like, and we can chill together for like 10, 15 minutes. And okay, now I'm also done. And I don't need to like bring her home. I don't have to like cuddle with her at night. It's like, sure, there was a phase of my life where I wanted to cuddle with my dogs. But now I'm not in that phase anymore. So it's okay. Whichever phase you're in, that's cool. But my main point is that you do what you need to do in order to have your frequency at the highest level. Yes. So, so that's what I mean by frequency control, because it is your job. Like, it's totally your job to maintain your frequency, right? Cool. I think that's mainly about it from me for today. I would like to open it up for you guys for Q&A.
Hey Vishnu, yeah, just to add to what you said, actually, like, from the last bit, especially when you said, you have to maintain a certain frequency, and that is how you resonate with a certain sets of things that are already available for you. It's not something that you have to sort of even work towards. It's just aligning yourself with the best self. Our job is to only kind of uncover those blocks that we have formed and, like, unblock that. So my question maybe around that is, like, I don't know if there is a one way to find out what are our blockages, but I guess only action kind of clears these kind of doubts, right? Uh, I don't know if I explain myself right, but what I mean is sometimes there are, like, physiological blocks, sometimes there are psychological blocks, sometimes there are mental blocks. Like, for example, while growing, I've always been a healthier kid. Then in college, like, I was almost 92 kilos, and I myself, like, did a little bit of yoga and got myself into a little bit of a clean diet. I lost 22 kilos, like, in a year span. So, though I have lost the weight, somewhere within me there is still this fat kid that was maybe fat shamed, and sometimes that kind of pulls me down, even with my relationships, not necessarily romantic ones, even, like, it's an image that I've sort of imbibed so strongly within myself. I constantly, like, uh, be aware of this and try to make sure that it doesn't come in the way of what I want to be and how I am as a person. But yeah, I completely understand that, like, to be able to really get what we want, we have to try and keep our frequency high. So any tips or points onto what really helps to keep our frequency there would be great.
Cool. That's a really nice question. So I actually have two sets of answers for you. The second set is a really big set. So I will first start with the smaller set. It's easier to kind of cover. Okay. Uh, just a moment. This one I will draw it out and show you. Okay. Uh, yeah, allowing my inner child to like express his creativity through 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 the lamest of drawings, third class level. But anyway, so that's you. That's Jayesh, or could be anyone, right? And then we have facts. Yes. Now, okay, we can give Jayesh a smiling face. Yeah. So you see, the facts in and of themselves don't matter at all. What matters is like when you put a frame around a thing, frames create focus. Yes, like you might take some pictures like family portraits, this, that, all those things. But like now, if you take all these pictures, you put them in an album and then you put it inside your drawer, nobody's looking at them. You take some picture, you put a frame around it, and then you paste it on your wall because you want to see that, right? So what happens is that, like, let's say this is your frame, right? So the frames create focus. So that decides what your attention should go to. Make your eyes a bit bigger. Yeah. So you see, the thing is, every fact has a positive and a negative side. Every fact. There isn't a fact in a world that does not have a positive and a negative aspect. Like there's literally everything. There is not one thing in the world that you can imagine, that you can think of, that does not have both the sides. They're just like every coin has two sides, a heads and a tail. If it has to have a head, it has to have a tail, right? Every up has a down, like white and black, whatever. And it's like, so in the same ways, facts also have positive and negative aspects. So now, depending on which part we're focusing on, am I focusing on the positive aspect of the fact, or am I focusing on the negative aspect of the fact? Right? So, say for example, being fat and losing weight has positive aspects and has negative aspects. Right. So I'll give you an example. It's like I've talked about it before, how I had a house in Kodai and then, it got burnt down and I got cheated by this dude, who I trusted and stuff like that. So that's a fact, right?
Yeah.
It happened. But now it has positive and negative sides of it. So the positive aspect of that is that because of that event, I had to leave that place. And ultimately, my life offered me an upgrade where I moved from a place which was like 2 acres in size to a place which was 40 acres in size. And I ended up living in a resort for the next 2 years, which already had like half a dozen dogs who would come chill with me, stay in my room. I'd go for a walk anywhere. And man, it's like in the middle of the night, you go for a walk, there's like half, like you have a gang of dogs like walking with you. Like you can walk like a badass anywhere, it's like you don't have to be like, because it's different, it's like in the mountains as compared to in the cities. Like,
Yep.
in the mountains, like sometimes you might be a bit afraid of like some wild animal, some wild boar or something coming from somewhere, like, but when you have like a Rottweiler, like a Saint Bernard, and like, bunch of other dogs with you, and it's like, man, you can go wherever you want, right? So now all of these things happen to me because of that fact. But it's like, now which one do I focus on? That because of this fact, I got this upgrade in my life experience, or do I focus on the fact that, hey, there was this dude who cheated me, there was this dude that I trusted, and like, and I got cheated, right? And why did I trust him? Because I had a lack of judgment. Like maybe I was dumb, maybe I was stupid, like I couldn't see the red flags when they showed up. So these are also aspects of the fact. Like so maybe I could focus on the aspect that my judgment is really bad. Like I have really poor judgment. Yes. And now if I focus on this aspect of the fact, what it tells me is that maybe in the future I should not, you know trust people. I should be very, very cautious when I open my heart, when I trust people. But I could also see that because I opened my heart and I trusted and I did all of those things, what the universe did is it offered me an upgrade, which I was not in the logical space capable of doing by myself. Like in order to get this upgrade, like the universe had to like destroy what was in order to make way for the new.
Absolutely.
That was just the universe offering me an upgrade. And so now, depending on which part of the fact that I focus on, like, there is something that happens. So either it generates in me faith or doubt. Yes. Now, what I want you to understand is both faith and doubt are also two sides of the same coin. Absolutely. Both faith and doubt are beliefs. They are both. Okay, I can definitely make a better B than that. Yeah. Both faith and doubt are beliefs. Faith is the belief in the outcome that I desire, and doubt is the belief in the outcome that I do not desire. And so faith or doubt are being generated in my mind as a function of my focus, whether I'm focusing on the positive or on the negative side of the fact. If I'm focusing on the positive side of the fact, it generates faith in me. If I focus on the negative side of the fact, it generates doubt in me. And both of these beliefs in my brain travel down to my heart and create an emotion, right? And the emotion that I can have is either anxiety or I can have anticipation. right? So anticipation is when I have the energy to do something. Like I'm really excited about something. Like, see, anticipation comes when I have more faith in the positive outcome, in the desirable outcome. Then I'm like really, really excited. Anxiety comes when I have more faith in the negative outcome. Like, what do I, okay, let's say I'm going out on a date. There's like this pretty girl and like whatever. And now when I'm going out on a date, for whatever reasons, how I am focusing on the facts. Like if my focus is on the positive side of the facts, which generates the faith in me that, hey man, like today I think I'm going to get lucky. So I tell my roommate that, bro, you need to figure out some other place to crash for tonight because I'm getting a girl home. Right. And so now you're already going into the date with that anticipation. Right. And so everything works out. And like now you have the energy to do things. Like you're flirting really well, you're talking really well, you say all the right jokes, like you make her laugh, like you ace it. Every part of that equation, you ace it. But when your focus is on the negative aspect of the fact, like when you start thinking that, oh man, like she's gonna freaking eat my brain, and or she'll like say all these things, or it's like it's going to be awful. I'm going to make an ass of myself. It's going to be like I'm going to like it's going to be ridiculous. Like it will be so clear that I'm so stupid, and like she'll make fun of me, and then she'll see my pot belly or this or that, like whatever. And it's like when I'm focusing on the negative aspects of the fact, it creates doubt inside me, and that doubt creates anxiety, which translates into powerlessness. So what that means is then I like every part of that process becomes difficult. I procrastinate more and more. I avoid calling her. Like if I have to text her today, I will text her like 5 days later. Like when I have anticipation, I will call her right now. I'll be like, hey babe, like what's up? Like something, it's like I'll call right now. I'm not worried that, what if she doesn't take my call? But when I'm on the other side, when I'm in anxiety, like that's my thought. Okay, what if she doesn't pick up my call if I call her right now? Should I call her? Maybe she'll be in a class. Maybe she'll be doing this. Maybe she's busy. It's like all 1,000 things I'll think. And then like I'll be like, okay, maybe I should message her. And then like sit down to send a message. And then start thinking that what should I write in this message? And then type something and be like, oh man, that sounds creepy. Like fuck that, delete that. Be like, and then be like, oh, okay, maybe I'm really hungry right now. And what I want to do right now is like go eat pani puri or something. It's like, and then off you go eating pani. And so now you know how the story plays out.
Mm-hmm.
And so the exact same thing is true with everything that we're doing in life. The reason we get derailed, like these blocks that we have in our head, is because of this phenomena. So when you start looking at yourself, and when you like, you tell yourself that, hey man, I want to do this project. I want to do this thing. Yes. But then for some reason you see that, okay, 6 months have gone by and I haven't fucking done anything. It's like, obviously you're procrastinating. But why are you procrastinating? Because there's a part of you, which I can guarantee, believes that this is not going to go well. Like you have more faith in the unfavorable outcome than in the favorable outcome. Like if you knew that your book was going to like sell like 1 million copies, it would be ready by now. Right?
Yep. True.
So, but when we feel like, oh, okay, like whatever. So then we keep pushing it down the road. Because why are we pushing it down the road? Because we are saving ourselves from unpleasantness. Because we are expecting reality to give us a rude awakening. Like we are expecting a bitch slap from reality. And in order to protect ourselves from reality's bitch slap, we're just like pushing the can down the road. Be like, oh, okay, like 5 months later, just 10 minutes later, tomorrow, right? Tomorrow, definitely, right? So, and so that's what happens. So this is like one model of like figuring out what exactly is blocking you? What are the models that you have in your head? Right. Like, because they're both the same thing. Whether you are feeling, empowered to do something, or you're feeling disempowered and therefore you're procrastinating, the root cause is the same. Like the mechanism of all of it is the exact, it's like the same channel, the same stuff. It's just like, where are you focusing? Like that is what generates this whole channel. Either you generate channel A or you generate channel B, and both of them have the exact same mechanism. And so the easiest way to figure out what is happening in your life is just to look at your results. Like just see what you're doing, because it's very easy for you to deceive yourself. Like you might tell yourself stories and believe it. Like, we're masters at that, right? Like forget deceiving other people. It's like the first person that we are like epic at deceiving is
Yeah.
ourselves, right? So we have a master's degree in self deception, everyone, right? And we got it by the age of 12. So now, like, once you understand this, then you can also like kind of dig a little bit, and then you can change these things, right? And so what we can do is we can make life easier for ourselves. We don't need to like have an uphill battle. What do I mean? Like, change those little things inside you that you need to change in order to empower yourself. Like, figure out what is disempowering you, examine it. And in fact, what I would say is like the biggest thing is reality sets you free. Like reality is your friend. Like often, the cause of misery in our life is the programming in our brain. Because like the programming in your brain is stuff that you acquired from your parents, from school, from society, from like all kinds of like garbage junk places like the media and the news and like all these other places. But reality is your friend. The universe loves you. And so when you actually come to terms with reality, which is that when you step into the now moment and you embrace the now moment and you see what is, like you will start to see thousands of different ways in which reality and the universe is supporting you and is like assisting you. And it's a very difficult task, which is why the ego is constantly active in order to convince you that, hey, man, you're not supported. It's like your life is horrible. It's like it sucks. It's like the worst possible place anyone could be is your life, right? That's a full-time job that the ego has, to convince you that your life is miserable. But you see, you like look at this, like look at the paradox. If your ego shut down for even 10 minutes, like those 10 minutes would be so peaceful and blissful. Yes, because bliss is your natural state. Peace is your natural state. The ego has to work overtime. It's like all the time in order to convince you that life is miserable. Right? So that's number one. Now the next thing you said, it's like in order to like keep ourselves in higher frequency. So there's different things. Like one of my favorite books, which I've talked about multiple times, is called The Handbook to Higher Consciousness. In case anyone hasn't read it yet, and if you want it, I can share the book on this group so you guys can check it out. I would suggest you can get like a spiral binding of it, right? It's just like I have something like this, helps me highlight stuff, and I've put like notes and just different things in there. It's really useful stuff. So it talks about different centers of consciousness, different filters that we apply on reality. There are like 7 different filters. From the lowest to the highest, it is like the lowest is security, where you're just scanning your environment for threats to your survival, like like a monkey in a forest or like a rat running around in a house, afraid that the cat is going to like catch it at any time. Then the second is sensation. You're just scanning your environment for like, food and all kinds of things with like, YouTube videos or music or like, stuff on Swiggy and just like all sensory gratification to just make you feel nice. It's like And so that's the second level. And the third is power. Like whatever, like, you want to have better position in your office, more leverage over your boss, or like, it's like stuff with your partner, or just like power can play out in so many different ways, like parents and children, and, husband and wife, and like just everywhere, it's like these dynamics can play out. Most of the people exist on the three lower centers. And so where the ego is like so active. Finally, the fourth center is love, or compassion, which is where you start recognizing more oneness than separation. Like when you see the other person, rather than seeing them as another person, as, oh, like this is my client, this is my boss, this is my that, like you see yourself in them. You see that, hey man, I'm consciousness that's inside this body, that is experiencing this dimension through this filter. But that's also consciousness that's experiencing this dimension through a different filter, right? But that's it. It's just a different filter. But I love you, right? It's like, it's a different kind of a love, right? And this love is, it's not something which is very commonly understood. And like, because usually in the media, the kind of love that they're portraying is actually just toxic possessiveness and ownership and stuff like that. And they drill in like really bad ideas. But the love that you experience in the fourth center is just the recognition of oneness. That, hey man, I'm consciousness inside this body, your consciousness inside that body. I'm like, how do you get into that one? It's like, hey man, how's your trip? Right? Like, hope
Yep.
you're how's your adventure coming along? Right? It's just a fun ride. And then in
Absolutely.
the fourth center, like, neither do you take your own drama so seriously, nor do you take somebody else's drama so seriously. You're like, sure, man. It's like, you like, somebody comes and starts telling you all kinds of things about their life, and you're like, seems like you're really into your drama. Like you're enjoying it quite a bit. It's like you want to have two more spoons, like two more servings. Like, I'm happy to serve you, bro. It's like, I can see your plate is full of drama. I can put like two more servings of drama. It's like, so you see, the space of love that you have in the fourth center is very different from this romantic model of love. Right? It's more like at a level of consciousness. So like, you're not trying to change people. You're not like, it's like, hey man, like, why the fuck are you like filling your life with drama? It's like, chill out, don't take it. Like, no, it's like, sure, if that's the trip you're on right now, it's like, by all means, I support you. Like, full power to you. It's like, we can accelerate the amount of drama in your life. It's like, hope you enjoy it then. It's like, why do you go to a theme park? Why do you get on that like thing that goes up and down? Like, for the fun of it, right? It's the same thing that's happening at a consciousness level. The soul has put itself in this body, and different people are playing the game at different levels. Some people are playing it in like vanilla mode, some people are playing it in hardcore mode. So like, and now you can look at people differently, right? Like, you see somebody who is like a beggar on the street and he's just like walking around. Like, you can see a dude who's playing the game and, level hardcore, right? Like, raining, it's like sunny, it's like whatever, like, like, because that's also you. That's also another soul. That's also consciousness that's just having another experience of this dimension. It's different from the one that you're having. Like, I like having a home. I Man, I love having a car as well. It's like, now I think like, it's like, okay, like I would like to have a car and a bike, right? I would like to have a really good bike so that I can go fast, and I would like to have an empty road, and I would like to have all of those things. But at the same time, when I look at a beggar on the street, it's not lost on me that that's also another version of me who's having just a very different experience of life. That's a different choice. I'm like, sure, bro, like full power to you, man. It's like, fine, like that's an experience. So,
True.
so the fourth level, one of the shortcuts to actually get to the fourth level, which is why I keep like talking about this point like again and again and again, like, like a broken tape recorder. Like, one of the shortcuts to actually get to the fourth level of consciousness is actually selfless service. Because you see, what happens in the three lower centers of consciousness is that like everything that you do is in some form or the other a mechanism to accrue more benefits for your own ego. Like we're always bartering stuff. Like, and even like, like you see, everything can be experienced from different centers of consciousness. Like, let's say between a masculine and a feminine, for example, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, whatever you might say. Now, the energetic exchange between the husband and wife could be from the love center. It could also be from the sensation center. It could also be from the security center. It could also be from the power center. Just because they're married or like, it doesn't matter, right? Like when the two people, it's like the masculine and feminine, husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, when they're using each others as sex toys, for example, that's the second center of consciousness. You're just like a dildo with a body, right? That's all it is. And likewise, the girl is like a vibrator with a body, or not vibrator, but I don't know, like a whatever, like a flashlight with a body. And so there are many people at that level, right? When we watch porn, that's what is happening. It's just on the second level. It's just for the but there are people who are playing it out in their life as well. But you could also have this experience in the first level of security, where let's say there's like a broken relationship and the wife is still just having sex with the husband in order to like maintain the status quo, just to not like break the relationship. Yes. And so that is like how you can experience sex in the first center of consciousness. It's just security, because the wife is afraid, like, it's like, I don't know how to make money. My husband's the only one who makes money. And like, I'm 45 years old. I'm not going to change now. And okay, what to do? I already have like 3 kids. And so that's one way it plays out. So one of the easiest ways for us to like switch from these 3 lower levels and come to the 4th level of consciousness, where already our frequency kind of goes up, is when the things that we do come from the recognition of oneness. And the giving, like whatever we are giving, it's not necessarily rooted into the benefits that I can accrue from this transaction. It's just that, hey, man, I love sharing my gifts. Like if humor is my gift, I love to make people laugh. If like whatever my gifts are, I just love to like share them with the world. And the more we do that, like automatically our frequency goes higher. And the thing is, like when your frequency goes up, it's an unmistakable experience. Like, for sure that, hey man, like I feel fucking awesome today. Like when you feel lousy, you know what it feels like. And when you feel amazing, you know what it feels like. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Truth be told, word to word, my brother. Couldn't agree more.
All right. Cool. Awesome. Sweet. Other questions, guys? Hi, Sonal. All right, guys. Other questions? Nobody has any questions for me today?
Well,
I don't have a question.
Yes, Prabhu.
I just wanted to share something.
Sure.
Like, first of all, you're really in a flow today. And I'm really enjoying all that you're saying. Like, yeah, you are sharing all that from a space of oneness, I think. And yeah, I can feel that flow. It's the clarity, the flow, the analogies, the structuring of all of it. It's like I have seen the same thing 100 times and I'm seeing it again, but this time I'm seeing it and it is looking much more beautiful. So it's like that, right? And the importance of repetition, like 1,000,000 times we can repeat the same topic because this is the only topic to talk about. And this is the most important topic to let our life shine. And the more ways, the more perspectives, the more methods, the more structures we establish to look at this idea, the more we can enhance our life. Like that's how it feels to me. Because like whatever you've spoken about today, those concepts you've covered maybe 15 times earlier, at least. But again, this feels very new. So that is one. The other is I wanted to like chime in with what you were telling earlier, in that when we are stuck with this idea of making money, which I was and still am, because like I only had this idea of business from my past, where it is all about how you can make the maximum money in the shortest possible time or whatever. Like you think about ethics, but then it is just that word. Like behind that, everything happens, and you are still being ethical. Now I'm like again doing business in an area where I have shared from a very heartfelt space of empathizing with other people having gone through something. And there is this energy inside of me. Like, I want to tell this to everyone, the taxi person, the auto guy. Like, when I first discovered the fruitarian diet in Dharamshala, like, this was the only thing on the planet. I was telling this to everyone. Like the sabzi wala, like people might have been thinking like, ye insaan Sardar to pagal hai. Like he is wherever he's going. All the fruit sellers in Dharamshala are still the best of my friends. And they're all like, I'll be in my scooty. Oh yes, Janji sir. And I'm like happy, and they're like possibly, yeah, ye aake le lega 50 kilo aam ab mere se. So yeah, that is one. But why I'm saying that is, now that I'm transitioning from this phase of establishing a business in this very space, which I really feel about, and my life is also revolving around, giving and expanding and being aligned with the consciousness that I am. I see this split. Like till now, I've been very focused on getting the next client and whether that client will pay me money, has the money come. And I realized that the last three conversations I've had have been like maybe not a slap, but like a shake from the universe. And I'm like trying to get to the point of making a sale. And I am not really committed in the process of giving value. Like whenever somebody calls me, I'm just trying to tell them, "Are you ready? Are you ready?" Like, it's like, and I am listening to my own voice, and I'm like, "Why? What's happened to you? Who is this desperate guy?" And I can't get out of it while I want to get out of it, because I know no other way of making money. Either I can give or I can make money. I don't know the middle thing. And then like I was so stuck, like nothing is happening. And I am like generating leads and getting in on call with those people, giving them some value, because the strategy I know is give them some value and then make the sale, do the island A and island B. And I'm trying to tell them like your life is going to be fantastic. And the way I'm coming across is probably not in a flow, because I am attached to an outcome. And then eventually I decided like this is enough. I need to start giving to people. And day before yesterday, I put out this message on my group that for the first 5 people who just send a DM to me, I'll do a free one-on-one consultation, and it would last as long as you want to have it, till every last question of yours is answered. Like till you are like, I don't want to talk anymore. I will be there with you on the call. And I've been enjoying that so much. I've been enjoying that so much. Like I want to listen to them. Like earlier, they were saying something. I was asking the questions, because like I have understood from all that you've taught that I need to ask more questions to really understand who they are, where they're coming from. Because only if I ask, I can like show them the entire picture. I am asking them, but it's not really going inside my ears. And now I'm listening. I'm listening. I'm able to listen. I want to know more. There is this curiosity like a child. And I am more curious to understand and be able to empathize with them, establish that bond with them. And when that bond is established, I've seen like in both the two calls I've had, initially people are not ready to tell everything. You ask them the few questions and they'll tell that they have a few problems, but then at the same time, they will establish that they are like, okay, like there's nothing wrong with me. Because I guess people don't want to see them as an idiot. So they try to tell that to you also कि भाई मैं idiot नहीं हूँ, मुझे पता है, ये सब कुछ पता है, मुझे पता है. So like if you keep listening it, they start opening up कि ये है, वो है, and eventually they start crying also. So now like the question I have is अब इसके कैसे balance कैसे करना है? Now I'll keep listening and I will never ask them कि I can coach you or whatever. Like this is difficult, man.
Okay, so all right. So here's the thing, there's a couple of ways. Just naturally, when you see the point of money as well is so that you can structure certain things in your own life, right? So your time is a finite resource. Like there is only so many one-to-one conversations that you can have. Right? As you start having more and more such conversations, you're soon going to run out of time. So you just it's simple, man. It's just transparency. Like you just have to you just start, you give as much as you can, right? You just keep giving, but you also let them know ki bhai, this is what is happening. Like now already these many slots are already full. Like I don't have so many more slots. It's just about being transparent with them and letting them know what it is. And so now in terms of giving as well, right? So there have to be different mediums. So which is where leverage comes in. So when you have a leveraged form of giving, like say, for example, now in this call, yeah, like now if there are like 3 more people, 4 more people who join this call, it's not like it is going to take like 40% more effort on my part. It's still the exact same thing. But like now, if I have to talk to those 4 people individually one by one, now that's a very different experience. Right? So leverage is something that you need to create. Now that is a structure around it. So when you have these people who need value from you, like first of all, you don't necessarily immediately have to even think about like, bhai, how do I like monetize it? How do I like, that's okay. It will happen. There is no way that that cannot happen. And also another idea that I will share is when we give value to the universe, it is impossible for that value to not come back to you. It is just our insistence that it has to come back from the very same person. Like, भाई मैंने तुम्हें 50,000 का वैल्यू दिया है, तुम मेरे को 50,000 दो, right? And that insistence also tends to create this problem. But when you just give out that value, like do we have faith that the universe is fair and just?
Yeah.
Then that's it, man. It's like the universe will keep track of the accounting, right? And so now one of the things is that, see, usually if you have some channel where which is why I spoke about this idea of like niche selection as well, because often people don't really get it that why is it so important to select a niche. Because you see, like once you select a niche, you're kind of solving similar problems for similar people. And so it's easier for you to bundle them. Like when you don't have that niche, it is like too spread apart. Like the fact that all of you guys are here is because like all of you have like similar desires and objectives in life. And I'm solving the same problem for all. Like this is a program essentially for healers. So like all the people or in this program have like a very similar mindset. Like there is nobody on this program who is like, man, I don't fucking care. You tell me all the strategies, bro. I will take the fucking last bottom dollar from their pocket. You tell me the strategy, I will do it. Like there is nobody like that in this group. It does, like, see, this group is not the representation of the world. Right? Because see, with this group as well, like I initially started out with like, okay, man, like, okay, business strategies, right? And then I realized that it's not really flying so well with this group. Because I realized that everything has to be more rooted in spirituality, has to be more deeply rooted in love. because this tribe has a certain vibe. And so that is the main purpose of niche selection. Like everyone talks about niche selection. Everyone says, oh man, like choosing. It's so that you can actually create that leverage. And when the people or part of your niche have like a similar problem, similar mindset, similar frequency, then you can bundle them together and start addressing their problems together. Start giving them value together. And that ways, then, it's like for you, it is not really a bigger challenge. It's like, whether there's like 10 people that you're helping, 15 people that you're helping, doesn't make such a big difference. 20 people you're helping, like from your side, you can just give, right? And there's just like higher levels of like, service and things that people like. And see, it's also not necessary for you to like monetize everything immediately all at once. Like you're just, see, fundamentally think of it this way. You are building your tribe. You want to make your tribe as big, as beautiful as possible. That I didn't talk about money in that statement anywhere. That's just like a side thing, right? The main purpose of money is just to get commitment. Like, because when people don't pay, it is more likely that they will not show up. And so the transformation doesn't happen. But if somebody is showing up even without the money, that's amazing. That's not a problem. Like, to me, the fact that, hey, it's like somebody is here, like, in this thing, like in anything that I'm doing, if they just show up to even like listen to me, I'm like really grateful that somebody showed up.
Wow.
Right. So that's what it is. Like, and so what we want to do is essentially we want to like build our tribe, make it bigger and bigger. And that's fine. It's like, see, the thing is, your time is a finite resource. So when your tribe is like 10 people, like 10 people who genuinely love you, they're like, man, Prab is the stuff. Like, he has like, he's the one he's the dude who's giving me all the insights of the universe. Right. So that's already really valuable. When you have 20 of them, when you have 30 of them, when you have 40 of them, like you only have so much time. So what happens now is your time just starts becoming more and more valuable because there's more and more people who are valuing your time and energy. Right now, there's very few people who are actually valuing your time and energy other than yourself. When your tribe becomes like 100 people, 200 people, 300 people, then there's going to be a lot more people who value your time and energy. And then you don't necessarily have to use some, hi-fi sales tactics and all those things. You're just transparent. You're just letting them know that, bhai, mere paas itna hi time hai. Like I need to like chill with my family. I want to like chill with my son, and I have all these other things that I want to do. So in a day I have like, and then, I'm doing all these other things. So maybe in a week I have like 5 slots for like, say, some one-to-one consultations or something like that, or for certain things. Whatever, however you choose to structure your day and time. And so you're just transparent. You're just letting people know that this is what I have. Like, and the ones who will value it will come. They will be like, okay, I'm willing to pay Prab like, 50,000, 1 lakh for that because I need it and I know that it's worth it. Somebody else who thinks it's not worth it, it's fine, man. It's like, you're not forcing anyone to buy from you. And which is what I was talking about, like, in terms of making offers, like it's important because we hear, like, see, the more number of times we hear these words, like it starts to make deeper and deeper sense to us. Like, what is the point of this, right? Like when we are making an offer, we're not forcing anything on anyone. We're just letting them know that, bhai, this is open. Chahiye to le lo, nahi chahiye to mat lo. Koi dikkat nahi. I'm just like, I'm letting you know that this is what I can offer to you. The problem is when we are when we are desperate for them to buy, for them to pay. So that puts us in a disadvantageous position. And so what we are essentially doing is like build our tribe, make it as big as possible. Like, and the tribe will have like different levels and layers to it, right? Because the bottleneck over here is your time and energy. So you have only a certain amount of time and energy. And
Right.
so you must have a mechanism where you're able to distribute your energetic goodness in scale. Now, be it through YouTube videos or be it through like stuff like this, interactions, or like any different format, like whatever stuff that you can come up with. So you have to build your tribe. You have to create that value. You have to distribute that value at scale. And in the beginning, if you don't have enough clients to start with, then you can give your time one-to-one also. This like you don't have to become pricey right in the beginning. Like you can do as many one-to-ones, and there will soon come a time when now you cannot do one-to-one just because there's too, like it's just about demand and supply.
Yeah.
Right? So this is like economics 101, right? So it's all about demand and supply. So right now there is a certain supply of prob time and prob energy. And if the demand for prob's time and energy is less than the amount of available prob time and energy, then the price of prob time and energy is pretty low. If there's only like 3 people interested in the stuff that you're saying, then of course the price of your time and energy is fairly low. But as you start building your tribe, as you start nurturing, giving value, getting better, it's like your messaging gets better, your communication gets better, like the stuff that you write gets better, the stuff that you create gets better, like everything gets better and better, your tribe gets better. Then the number of people who want prob's time and energy starts increasing. And they will obviously have to bid for your time. Like, not that you will practically start auctioning and then people, like, not like that. But in some way, the equilibrium will be reached. Like, if you say, okay, hey, man, it's like 10,000 per hour. And if it's like still like more people want, then it becomes like 20K per hour. Still more people want it, becomes like 30K per hour. Right? So that is something that will evolve over time. But the initial thing is to just build that tribe. And the price point doesn't really matter in the beginning. Like any price point, it's okay. You just like whatever price point will create that commitment in them is what you want to focus on. Because even with the money, right? Rather than thinking about how much money can I make, like how much should I charge this person so that they will actually do what I'm telling them to do? That is our pricing strategy. Even the pricing can be rooted in selfless service so that I don't have to think about myself. I'm thinking about you. Be like, bro, if I give this to you for free, I fucking know you're not going to even show up the next time. And you're not going to do the stuff. Like I will give you the most precious jewels of life and you'll just like throw them in the garbage. I know it for sure. So like for your own goodness, I need to charge you 1 lakh so that you value this information and then you do the stuff that I'm telling you. Right? Now, whatever that price point is, like it could be anything, whether it is 1,000, 10,000, 1 lakh, that's on you. And you run multiple iterations. Like you give something away for 1,000 and then if you realize that, hey, they don't value it at 1,000, make it 10,000, make it 20,000, make it 30,000, make it 50,000, make it 1 lakh, whatever. Right? And so that's what it is.
Got it. Got it. Thank you so much for expounding on that. Like another thing I just quickly wanted to say, there are 2 more. Yeah, I think you go to Nandini and I'll come back later.
Cool. I'll come back to you then. Okay, I think Jayesh raised his hand first, so we'll go with Jayesh.
Yeah, I just wanted to be a voice of faith for Prab and sort of reiterate what you said. So, if you guys already don't know, I am actually a singer-songwriter. So, I play a guitar and I sing. That's what I've been doing for the longest time in my life. So, even when I started off, I used to do something called open mics. So, open mics are places where artists sign up and you go and perform. You get a time slot, 10 to 15 minutes, and you perform, and it's for free. But you're getting a lot of eyes on you. Like, there is no promise of conversion, none of it. But this is something I did at the starting of my career because it gave me, 1, the practice of performing in front of people, 2, feedback to understand what I need to do right and what not to continue with doing, right? And going ahead in life, there were so many conversions that came through that. Like I hadn't even thought about that becoming a conversion. I did it precisely because I wanted to
like master my art of performance, right? Like the art of playing an instrument or singing is one thing, but I wanted to master the art of performance. So I would just go do these open mics for free. And this would happen on Tuesdays. Like Vishnu was saying, I dedicated a certain amount of time for this particularly. So Tuesdays I would do this. And so many times the conversions came where I used to get a paid gig for the weekend. So that has happened with me. So it is something I can completely vouch for when Vishnu says, you give to the universe and it comes back to you in one form or the other. The only thing that we need to be open with is to not insist on how it has to come back to us. Another example for that is I played gigs for West Side recently. So they paid me like 6,000 for 2 hours of performance, but that was the money that they paid me in cash. I got 15,000 worth merchandise for doing this. So technically speaking, I got paid 20K for my 2 hours, right? So it comes in ways that maybe is like, not essentially how we always wanted it, but what we give never goes to waste. That's all I wanted to say. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that, brother.
Yeah, I just hope I've been a voice of faith for Prab, because I mean, that's the whole idea. If you're all here with each other, whenever each other is in doubt, I hope to add more faith. And that's all there is to this. Thank you for being that.
Thank
and
you.
I'm
Thank you
glad
so
if I
much,
can be
Jayesh.
that. Pleasure, brother.
All right. Nandini, your question.
Yeah, so I want to kind of second what Prab said, that today the energy was different and even better. It has always been great, even better. But also, I also second what Prab said, like he said, a give and take, like there's either give or there's take. He doesn't know how to balance the two. And I want to give you an example where I'm having a similar issue, which is that okay, so I made an offer to my community, and I said that it's valid till 30th June. Okay, and I opened it on like early June, 2nd or 3rd June. And I gave enough reminders, sent enough emails and everything. So very few people bought anyway. It didn't make so much of a difference to me. I was cool with that. It was basically an offer because I wanted to raise the price. So before I raised the price, I wanted to give that offer. So now today somebody has connected with me, giving me some story of how she was traveling, she lost her wallet, I don't know, whatever. And she wants the same offer that actually finished on 30th June. And this morning I have pitched it to another client for the higher price, and he has agreed to pay the price. So I feel like, should I be substituting it for someone who has come late to me? Because had she even written me a message saying, I'm interested, but right now I can't pay, I would have held the price for her because I had no issue. I'm holding it for someone else who did the same. So now I'm feeling a little conflicted. Like I want to help her, and she's written nice things about, what I'm teaching. She's very interested in it, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, how can I make two different, like how can I give it to one person for a higher price and give it to her for a lower price? So like so how does one balance? I want to give, but I also feel like, should I be fair or should I now discount the first guy also? Like, so give me some feedback.
Okay,
on
so
that.
see, because the nature of the business that we're in, it's not necessary for us to price it at the same level for everyone.
Okay.
It's perfectly fine. It's like, because see, what rather I would say is, let's think of it from the value perspective. Is she somebody who is genuinely going to benefit from this? She really values it. She really wants it in her life. And just because she doesn't get like say a 5,000, 10,000 rupee discount, she's going to like drop out of it. And then because of that, she doesn't receive the value. So that's like an overall loss for the universe because like
Yeah.
she didn't get what she was looking for. Right.
Yeah.
And so that is how I would personally see the situation, because like for me, usually when I'm having these conversations, because see, usually most of my sales I do it one-to-one, right?
Yeah.
And so I just talk about stuff, and it's like I just have the whole conversation, understand where you are, where you want to get to, and just all of those things. And when it comes to pricing, like I never let pricing be a problem. Like I just see that, okay, hey, what's up with you? It's like
So
first of all,
that's, yeah, I
right. So
mean, that's, sorry,
yeah,
please.
so the way I go ahead with this is like I just first of all understand, would it make sense for me to actually work with this person? Like, would we click with each other's? Like, like, will this person resonate with the messages that I'm giving? Like, will they resonate with the tribe that I'm building? And like, if everything is a yes, and I feel like, oh man, this person is going to get it, and this person is going to actually value from this stuff, then for me, like, I'd let them know that, it's like, okay, hey, like, it's 1 lakh, right? And like, if they're backing off because they say that, okay, I need to think about it and I'll tell you tomorrow or something, I'd be like, what's the issue? Like, is finance the only issue that you have? Because until now you were like so enthused about it, right? Now I said 1 lakh, and now
Mm,
you're like, oh man, I'm getting all skittish, right? So I just let them know that that's fine. I don't want this to be the only issue for you,
okay.
right?
Mhm.
So you tell me what can work for you, and I make it
Okay.
like super flexible for them.
So can I just give a little more context? So in
Sure.
my case, I'm basically trying to upgrade people from L1 to L2, since
Yes.
you understand the model. And I don't work one-to-one. I work in groups.
Yes.
L3 maybe some one-to-ones, but L2 I do offer some one-to-one once they pay me. And earlier in L1s, I've had one-to-ones with people for 30 minutes just to understand where they're at. And then I work in groups. And basically, the L1 is 5,000 and L2 was 15,000. I want to now charge 19,000. So we are not talking about, a lakh or anything like that.
Mm.
So I feel that someone who values it, who genuinely missed the deadline, can afford to pay 5,000 more,
Mm.
But since she's asking me, and she's asked me, like she asked me once, and I said, hey, just this morning, I've pitched it to someone on the new price. So I don't think it's totally fair, but I can assure you that you will get as much and more value, because she said how valuable L1 has been and blah, 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 much more value. But she's written to me again saying, since it's only been 2 days, can you please accommodate me? So now I was thinking, okay, maybe I can cut a couple of one-to-ones, because I offer some few one-to-ones, and maybe just give it to her at that price and she's keen. That's one idea. But I was feeling a little guilty because I've charged that guy, the higher price. And now just because she's asked me, I'm giving it to her at a lower. Like, it was not feeling fair to me.
Right.
And it's
So,
because it's not one-to-one, because it's not like a lakh we are talking about,
right.
Like I just feel like, no, then I should either give it to him at the lower price also, and then just extend the deadline. Like,
Uh,
or so that was
Right.
kind
Right. So I understand. So
of,
personally, I see these things slightly differently, right?
okay.
Like, because right now I am not offering anything to anyone one to one. Like, my offer is like, okay, Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, right?
Hmm.
That's like when I'm making a sale, when I'm pitching it to them, I say that, okay, this is what you're going to get. There's going to be like 3 sessions in a week, and then you can come in and like I'll answer all your questions, all that stuff. But I'm not making any promises of any one-to-ones anyways, right? And so even in that group format, I don't think people really care. Like, at what price point somebody else is getting it at. Like, like somebody else, I might give it at a discount because I feel like, okay, they're probably a bit tight on cash right now, or like, whatever the circumstances are. So that doesn't really affect it for anybody else, right? And
Hmm.
also, it's not like I think that, okay, hey, this person paid me less, so I'm going to do like less one-to-ones
That's
with
true.
them,
Of course, we
right?
don't do that.
So we
Yeah.
drop all of that as well. It's like you just see who needs how much help, what it is. And so we just like, yeah, so like, but I
Like, there's
understand.
another young girl who asked me for EMIs.
Yes.
She's very, very keen and she couldn't pay, and she contacted me within the deadline. I was very happy to give her EMIs,
Right. Right.
There was no issue there. Here, I'm feeling a little tightness. I don't know why.
Right. So it's fine, it's like it's totally fine for you to take a call. Like, if you feel that ways from the inside, like if your feeling is coming that ways, you could just be like, sorry, can't do. It's like the deadline's done. It's like, and that's that, right? And
Yeah.
because you see, it's an expansion for us also to
Yeah.
be comfortable, like with not taking on every client.
Yeah,
That's also an expansion, you know. It's like,
that's
because
true.
for whatever reason, if you have set your own benchmarks, and if somebody is not, like, you know, qualifying, or, you know, there's something that is not sitting, like, you can always say no. And like, it's perfectly okay to be comfortable with, you know, turning away some clients, and that's perfectly fine, and we have to become okay with that as well. And
Yeah.
so if the feeling inside you is like, ah, man, I don't like, then don't do it. By all
Okay.
means, you can just tell her that, sorry, this is what it is.
It's like then someone else will ask, then will I extend it further? Then when will I actually get to charging the price that I want to charge, that I think I deserve to charge, you know?
Right.
And then it's also the deadlines are not taken seriously, you know, if you don't hold, then it's
Yes.
empty words. Next time I pitch and I say this offer is valid till this, and the person says, Are, you know, she always gives an extension.
Right. So if that is the feeling that you're coming from, and if that's what it is, then you can stick to your
Yeah.
principles. You know, it's like, then we could
Yeah.
say that your principles are worth more than 15K.
Yeah, yeah. It's a genuine case, I don't mind. Like this girl I told you, or you know, someone. There
Yeah.
are lots of places where I have made exceptions. That I
Yes.
don't mind. But sometimes just sticking to what you said also is important.
Definitely. True. I agree. Yeah. So if
Yeah.
that's the case, if
Okay.
that's how you're
I'll
feeling
think
about it,
about
you
it.
could just tell her
Yeah.
that, sorry, it's closed. Deadline's deadline. You know, it's done. It's done. Can't do anything about it.
Yeah. Okay. That's what, not 100% there. But still, what you're saying is right. I have to make that upgrade at some point, you know?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Sonal is smiling away.
Yes. Sonal is in Nirvana anyways.
Yeah, I know.
So Nandini, I mean, just now Vishnu has spoken so much about giving, and I think you should use this opportunity for by taking this wisdom from Vishnu and give to this lady
Gosh,
as well,
darling,
and
I've
maybe you
been
extend
given
it
for
for.
10 years.
No. I know you have been giving. I mean, just give one more time and give for another 5-6 days to everybody, and give the money back to this guy also. You will not lose anything. You will gain more customers, more faith, more love, and more
They're already
community.
my customers. They're upgrading.
So that's my take on that. And I was
Yeah.
smiling at something genuine. When you use the word genuine, when I found this girl genuine,
Yeah.
this lady who is asking you is also genuine. Nobody is ungenuine there. So just see the genuinity in everybody. I think everybody's heart is genuine, right? So just try to see that way. It's just a perspective I want to share.
Thank you.
Nice. Sonal is anyway ascended. He's now
Ascended.
Himalayan yogi. You know, so Sonal is the guy that we talk about and tell our kids about, the people living in the Himalayas.
So Vishnu, whatever you told today, about giving and all that, those fourth chakra and fourth center and all that. So I think I'm living that life now for last probably few weeks now. I'm into that zone already. So it's a coincidence that you told about that today. You covered that, and I could sense it. I could see that I'm actually living that life of giving without any. I'm not seeing what money bank balance I have, whether the money will go away if I give to somebody needy, or if I find compassion for somebody and I want to pay him or her some money or some anything, any service or my time or whatever. I'm not taking a second. I'm not even taking a second to decide. And it can be, the amount can be anything actually. It's not about only 100 rupees or thousands rupees or thousands of rupees or lakhs of rupees. I mean, I'm not even seeing my bank balances, etc. Everything is coming, everything is fine. And I love your concept of that we are here to give. The receiving part will happen automatically. We are here to give only. And at the end of the day of my life, our life, it should not happen that we should think that, oh my God, I didn't share my gifts. I didn't share my gifts enough. So that is so much touching me, and I'm going to expand my own giving further now with this concept. Nothing is going to stop me now. So with this, Nandini, I really request you that you also give. Okay. Thank you so much,
Okay,
Vishnu. I'm
Sonal,
loving this conversation.
it's all very good to say give.
Sorry?
I was making less than 10,000 rupees for 10 years.
I
Okay.
understand. Yeah,
I
I understand.
finished all my FDs, and my financial advisor said you have 2 years of money left. This happened last year in July. He said you have 2 years of money left. You cannot afford to live in the house you're living. You cannot afford to drive the car you're driving. You
I
cannot
understand.
afford the driver. You cannot afford any of this. And we had to make drastic changes. And this is a result of giving without boundaries for 10 years. I just did full Samaj Seva for anybody and everybody. Socioeconomically weaker, corporations, people, whoever wanted to ask, I just gave. And then the universe said, hello, you got to learn how to receive as well. You can't just, I literally felt like a fool, but it's okay. I accept it.
I will
And
only say
how
one
it
thing.
was.
All whatever you're saying that I was a fool is actually you're probably discounting entire of all your karma or
No,
good
I
karma
learned
which you
a
did.
lot. I gained a lot of goodwill. I worked with amazing people and all of that. But I believe that this thing that Prabh was saying, how to have a balance of giving and taking. I think there is something to it that is important as well, because it shows us our value also. Earlier I felt acha, because people have this expectation कि health की बात कर रहे हो, spirituality की बात कर रहे हो, तो पैसे क्यों charge कर रहे हो? Even to this day, I get trolls on my, on whenever I give these things, that why are you charging money? Now I've become thick-skinned. I don't worry about it. Earlier it used to bother me. But I don't know. I would like to hear a little bit more
I
about
tell
this
you, because
balance. Where do you draw?
perspective. So I don't think you're charging any much money at all, by the way.
Exactly.
And,
It's hardly
you're
anything.
simply, in fact, you are giving your valuable time at a far discounted price, by the way. That's what I think.
I want to. That is my intention.
And that's great. And that's
10x
great,
the
by the way.
value.
And I can see
Yeah.
your contradiction also, because I was into sales and marketing, into all that. So every day
Yeah.
I used to do deals with everybody. This dealer, this price, this dealer, that price, this dealer, this price. And there's always a price increase happening on 1st of any month. Then somebody's coming, okay, sir, give me 2 tractors. I want 2 tractors, or old price. This was our daily thing, like daily, every day. And yeah, you can have different deals with different people, but
Yeah.
I understand your dilemma of like, I've already charged him overpriced and now I can't, and I don't want to say no to her also because she's insisting. That's a very like a regular dilemma for me as well as a sales guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I will still say, because I'm really in that zone right now. I'm really in that zone of Vishnu, who says that your job is only one thing, that is giving. Receiving will happen. Receiving is automatic. Receiving is going to happen on its own. So
I'll open my heart.
I'm truly believing it. I'm going to live my life like this. I'm living that way as well. I think so.
Yeah.
So I would still insist to you that go for giving. Just go for giving. Giving is very powerful, very far bigger than receiving. Receiving will happen.
That is true.
Yeah.
Receiving is automatic. It's a consequence.
It's going to
of
happen.
giving.
And I'm sure you would have received a lot as well, by the way. Don't discount
Absolutely.
that.
Of
Yeah, you
course.
received so much love, compassion, and blessings. And you can't match it. The kind of blessings you have got.
I just love the work I do, man. Honestly, I don't even have to receive anything. I'm just like Vishnu, so grateful that 20, 30 people show up to listen. I'm like, wow, you want to listen to me? Like I should be giving them money for standing there. Like literally, they're making my life worth living. Yeah, there is no price for that.
Yeah, time. See, the most important resource is time. They're giving you your time
and attention. Absolutely. And I always say that you're giving me your time and attention. These are the most precious gifts you could have given me. And I'm so grateful for that. Wo to hai, for sure. I totally understand what you're saying. And it's so wonderful to see you like this, Sonal.
Guys, can I chime in too?
I wanted to say something. Okay. Go ahead, Ash. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I've already spoken quite a lot.
Yeah, go ahead, Ash.
I'll say quickly.
I'll give the space to you. I am into giving.
Would like to listen to you,
that. Oh my God. Okay. So I'll take the opposite perspective, you know. Yes, giving is beautiful. But what we're creating here is business and structure. And if we just think about like, okay, Vish said, value your time at 10,000 rupees an hour, say, value it at 1,000 rupees an hour, whatever you want to, even if you value it low. How much time, Nandini, have you spent thinking about this up and down? Should I not? How much time are you wasting on this question? Because you are not like, your own answer from what I can hear is like, no, the deadline is over. This is the new price. But you feel a little guilty to say that. And now you are going on and spending all this time to, you know, and should I not, and should I, you know, for me, it's like, if you have a structure set up, this is the date, you come late for the date, say, hey, babe, I'm so sorry. This one, you know, this offer passed, you know, feel free to pay this higher price. And if you can't, then, you know, maybe another offer will be offered later on that maybe you can afford. And then the whole issue is done for you. You're not wasting all this mental energy in up and down and should I, and for each person, oh no, should I now? Now it's a week late, now it's a month late, now it's a year late. Should I not? This is a waste of time. It's easier for me. It's easier to say, if you contact me in this window, I can do it. If you don't, hey, next time, good luck, you know, love you still. Keep it simple. You know, because when you make it too personal and get too involved with everybody's drama, everyone have a sad story about why they can't pay something, you know, then it's exhausting. It's mentally exhausting. It gets a little bit too personal too. I know this is a personal business, but it's also good to have kind of a structure that you don't have to go up and down with each person and what are you know what I'm saying? It seems like it's more, I don't know, like I feel like you really want to say no to her. But you don't feel like it's a kind thing to do.
I also don't want to say no to the money, you know.
Well,
part
girl,
of
you
me
got
doesn't
to
want to say no to the money. Part of me wants to stick to the principles. And it only happened this morning. I'm just using it as an example. It's not, I will take a decision in the next an hour or so. So it's not
right,
like,
you know. So, and it's like, you know, and none of us can really tell that so much because it's like just whatever answer is coming up for you, do it. If it was me, babe, unless it's like some personal friend.
Sure.
I think she was going to say no.
You know, but
Oh,
all the best. Can you still
Sorry,
hear me?
we lost you for a minute. Yeah.
My internet, yeah. You know. Okay, yeah. So sorry, but yeah, if it was me, I would just say, you know, sorry, deadline passed. This is it's like the reason we set up structures and dates is so that we can kind of ease our own excessive thinking and time spent in this, you know. And now if the date is a question mark and the price is a question mark, and then for each client I have to go back and think in how much and when, and it's a headache. You know, just keep it simple. Say, hey, the deadline is passed. Or if you really feel like it and you know this girl something already, she's in your other program, say, you know, I'm going to make an exception this time. But honestly, you know, like in the future, like I'm not really able to like extend these offers because, you know, it kind of like, you know, messes up the, you know, the flow I have with the group because I want everybody to be kind of on the same page, investing the same amount and kind of, you know, it's like, I don't know, for me, structure, price point, dates is to keep your thinking less and not to get so involved with each sale and how, okay, this person, maybe this can only afford this. And it's like, you know, like, I don't know. I just feel like it's easier just to be like a little bit impersonal, even though it's personal. Just a little bit impersonal and be like, you know, sorry, if you want to say yes, girl, and you need the money now, okay, then you know what to do. But if you're able to say, but if you're able to say, you know, like, yeah, this person can't do that, and then it opens space for me to take the next client who's able to pay this amount of money, you know. But my personal feeling is like, once you set a structure, kind of respect it. You can make big exceptions if you really feel led to, but it's not to like go up and down with each person. Shall I change the whole structure of everything? Because then it's a lot of, like I was saying in the beginning, how much hours you're wasting to think this, or time to think and think and think, and it's not really productive. We're just a simple no and done, or a simple yes, babe, you know. But it's like you have to really come from within you. And then for me in general, set a structure and respect your own structure. That way it's less, you know, mental energy spent. That's my take.
Makes sense.
But I
Makes
feel you,
sense.
Sonal. Give. Everybody
sense.
is right in their own with all the perspectives.
Oh, I like that perspective actually. Thank you. I mean, just different perspectives is good to hear.
Oh.
I'll figure it out. Thank you, everybody, for listening and contributing.
Yeah,
Okay.
just sharing another perspective. Maybe it's the same perspective. And I'm not like, this is not specific to Nandini's question. I'm just reflecting on the discussion for my own sake. And what I was thinking was that it is eventually, there is no decision which is wrong or right. It is the indecisiveness or the overthinking about anything which is the issue. Because as we've been talking, like energy has to flow. And the more I think about something, instead of deciding, like whatever decision I decide to make, and if I flow with it, without ever going back to it and rethinking it, कि मैंने सही किया या नहीं किया, that is the thing that would hurt. Like if I stay in the flow and then next time maybe I have a different principle, but I'm still in the flow. I am learning from whatever I do. I take a decision, I leave it behind, I go forward, which is what Vishnu did when he took a decision of going while in Kodai and his house was burned down and he had some learning and now he's giving in another way. Now like Sonal is at some other space in his life and he is giving in a certain way. Like we are all in different spaces and we have all taking different decisions. Like sometimes, like I'm just reflecting on my own thoughts. I'm not lecturing anyone. Like sometimes even I am like, is sahi decision kya hai? Sahi kya hai? Like what is the right decision? Like that's the wrong decision. That too thinking too much ki sahi kya hai? So that's what I wanted to share.
Thank you so much for that, brother. So on that note, I just realized I wanted to add one thing. The meaning of the word decide, like it's like day and side, they're like the two components. And what that literally means is to kill off all the other options. So it's like you literally chop off all the other options, and then there is like only one option left for you. So then your energy can flow in one option, which is what we do when we decide. Right. So I think Sheetal had raised her hand.
No, for me, I really got like this is diverting the topic now, but I really got connected. As in, it's a reiteration of what I spoke with Vishnu earlier. Yeah, yesterday only I had a call, and there I realized I was so focused on, like, I realized the difference between why I'm procrastinating a certain thing, and I kept going back and actually looking at it in a different perspective about like a certain project and seeing all the favorable outcomes that what I'm looking rather than like, uh, I kept questioning why am I disinterested, and then I saw the positive outcomes, like what am I going to gain out of this task that I'm doing. And the flow was much easier than what I actually like. Then I realized like why the procrastination is happening, and it's still an ongoing process. But I keep going back to the what is the eventual favorable outcome that I'm actually looking out in that task.
Nice.
Mm.
Nice. I'm happy that you started to see this. Yeah.
Right.
Nice. And the thing is, as you use it to like more aspects of your life, you will start to like gain more clarity as to how you can use this. Yeah,
Mhm.
because usually what is happening, like, in terms of like doing things in life or even receiving things in life, because we are already infinite beings, we can have everything that we want to have in our life. Like it's not that there is some other creature, who is like some, demonic creature or some devilish being who is stopping us from receiving the benefits and the gifts of life. It's we are stopping it ourselves. Like we
Right.
usually have some sort of blocks in our own patterns, and we stop
Mhm.
the flow of goodness into our life. And if we can kind of
Mhm.
like examine our own brain and like, eliminate these blocks, naturally all good will flow to us.
And one block I found out is that basically earlier as a kid, like
Mm.
we used to always like as in my mom also has this main focus on giving. So she used to always like talk about giving and not expecting on the receiving part. And then as I started growing older, then I think I started being like, okay, this is mine. I don't want to share. Like I don't want to give. Like so maybe I need to work on that. Like why is it that I don't want to give? So because I had seen the benefits earlier about the giving part, but then slowly, like I think there are certain blocks which I need to work on that.
Okay, so over here now, okay, fine. So
Mhm.
it's like, though I've been talking in one direction, it's still a double-edged
Right.
sword. Okay, it needs like balance is a very important part.
Mhm.
Because you see, there was a phase of my life. So you see, when I'm saying give, right? It has to be understood in some context. That's also like
Yes.
really important. Because what
Mhm.
I'm saying is for us to share our unique gifts with the
Gifts.
world. I don't necessarily mean give everything that
No,
you
no, no. I didn't mean that way, but I understood the gift part. Yeah.
right. Because I'll give you a practical example. Okay, so because earlier when I was living in the mountains in Kodai and stuff, and I was reading the handbook and like I was doing all these practices and opening my heart and it's like love everyone unconditionally, including yourself. So I was giving everything, like my time, attention, money, resources, assets, like everything I was like giving freely, right? And then the universe taught me that, man, you shouldn't do this. Like you should only give to those who actually value and respect stuff.
Mhm.
For example, at that time I had an i10, it's like, and like I was like freely just giving it to like all my community friends or it's like people who needed. And there was a friend of mine, good friend, like very close to me, who just like freaking wrecked my car. Like he flipped it upside down, he banged it like in so many places, and he made like a mess out of it. And like, and there's just one small example I'm sharing, but there are like many things that happen. And what the universe really taught me was also about like ownership. Like because like I was on the other end of the spectrum at that phase of my life, in 2019, 2020, where I was like, man, it's like I like completely anti ownership and stuff like that. And the universe was like, no, that's not right. Like someone needs to own something, because ownership in itself is not a bad thing. It also talks about responsibility, right? Like if you have put in certain amount of like time and energy in order to buy a car that costs 10 lakhs, it's not just 10 lakhs, it's like in order to mine that metal, there's some people who are like, they're putting their blood, sweat and everything, like, in coal mines in this place, in that place. They're extracting all this metal. Somebody's making rubber, somebody's making tires, somebody's making all these things for this object to come together. And you are putting so much effort and energy on your part in order to like finally have access to this car. And just because some random friend comes along and be like, hey bro, can I have the key, and then he goes and fucks it up, right? It's not the universe's fault. Like I need to have the discretion that to whom can I actually give my car keys. And there was a time when I didn't have that discretion, when I was not drawing that boundary, when I was like, okay, anyone just ask for it, I'll just freely give, because I'm like, hey, everyone is consciousness. So then later I came to that phase that, it's like everyone's consciousness, fuck off, bitch. Right. So that I know that was like a big shift that I had in my own way of like, interfacing with people. Because like earlier, like, when I was doing this, like at some point I felt like, resources are not being appreciated. Right. And like now the thing is, like, just because I openly give away something that costs like 3 lakhs, 5 lakhs, 10 lakhs, and it's like if it is being wrecked because somebody else is not caring about it, then it's my fault. I should not do that. Because when I drive my car, like I'm very conscious of how I change the gear. Like I know it, man. It's like I've driven it enough that like sure I will corner it fast. I will accelerate into the curves and I will do all of those things. But I'm always mindful. I don't want to mess up my gearbox. I don't want to like mess up my clutch pedal. And so now when somebody like, man, now I don't give my car to anyone. Like earlier,
Mm.
like sure, like
Yeah.
like I understand about like cosmic consciousness and love and like all of those things. But man, you ask me for my car keys, you ain't getting it.
Mm.
Like nobody's getting it. right? And the universe taught me that because, like, you know, like I did certain things, I opened my heart, and then like people wrecked stuff,
Mm.
right? And so in that sense, like, you know, when I'm talking about giving, essentially, it's, and it's also about like creating systems and structures and stuff, right? Because at this phase of my life, like, I'm not giving away too much of my time and energy to people just like that. Like if I'm having a conversation with somebody, I'll be like, yo, get to the point, right? Like I'm not going to like indulge in just like unended conversation, like, you know, just because somebody is my cousin or like somebody, like, no, it's like I would rather have a conversation with someone where it is meaningful, impactful, effective. So because, like, you see, and that is how I scan my, like, because you see, I'm also a custodian at the same time. Like, you know, I'm a custodian of wealth, I'm a custodian of resources, and my time and energy are also a resource. And so, like, I could have a conversation with a family member for like 10 years, like, you know, 2 hours daily, and like, you know, like nothing comes out of it. They don't change. Like I'm just like dissipating all of this energy. And instead I could invest a much smaller portion of that, like, you know, in someone else, and then they could like have much more progress. And so when I see myself as a custodian of like even my time and energy, then as a custodian, I make good investments with my time and energy. Because if I'm making good investments, then I'm proving to the universe that, hey, man, I'm worthy of your trust. And then the universe can trust me with greater and greater assets. Like it's just that simple. Like if I can handle 10 lakhs well, the universe gives me 20. If I can handle 20 well, it gives me 40. If I can handle 40 well, it gives me like a crore. But if I demonstrate at like 10 lakhs that, bro, I'm incompetent and I can't handle this scene properly, the universe will give the cash somewhere else. So that's also part of it, right? So there's a bunch of things. Like, of course, in every conversation, I don't go into like every topic. And as I said in the beginning, you know, there's also this duality or paradox, you can say, that on the same time, I'm like talking on like both ends of the spectrum because they're both equally important. Like life is a paradox. Like all of existence, like everything that you see is the interplay between light and dark. It is that polarity of like just white light and black nothingness that creates the possibility of every shade in between. And that is what creates the whole canvas and the experience of life. So, yeah, so this will then go off into a very different tangent. So I will leave it at that.
Thank you, Vishnu.
Okay. My pleasure. Okay. So with that, I think it's almost 5:30 now. So I'm still happy to answer, share anything. So yeah, you guys want to share something? You have some questions, or we're all good?
Personal question, Vish. How's it going with your parents and your family? Everybody together. Oh my goodness.
It's pretty good. It's pretty chill. Thanks to Asya, I would say. Like mostly I could just hang out with her. So yeah, it was a possibility that didn't exist before. But now it exists.
Yeah, the parents are on better behavior when you bring the friends, you know? Or
Yeah. It's like when you're solo, you know, they got you
Right.
more. So now, like now I got a teammate, you know,
Okay,
it's like,
yeah.
yo,
Yeah.
so it's,
Yeah, that's good. Little, you know, control the situation. Amazing. Good.
yes, yes. All right.
Uh, if I can, I would like to come back to the question I asked to begin with. And like the key part of the question was this extreme that either I can be in complete giving when I am in a flow, like when I am not at all thinking about making a business sale, I feel that I am able to really empathize with the person, and I can give my best. As soon as the thought of that being a potential lead creeps into my head, my personality sort of changes. Like, I don't know, like this is a problem I need to fix or what. And when I start talking about the offer I have, I start sounding scammy to myself. Like I start associating myself to people in the past whom I've run away from. Yes, wo sala credit card wala ab piche pad jayega, bhago bhago. And I get the same response from them. They're like, as
Right.
soon as like, they're like, हाँ जी, okay, हम बात कर वापस करेंगे आपको. We'll call you back. We'll call you back. And they'll exit the group. They'll run away. भाई ये तो cheater आदमी है, भागो यार. So like I am seeing that on one side, this is probably what you talked about, the beliefs part and framing the picture, and me having that every fact has two sides to it. And I am focusing on that belief that I am in asking for money, I am being scammy. Probably that's what is happening. But like, how do I change this? Like, how do I be in the Prab who can feel without being in the Prab who is just focusing on the business?
Right. So there's a couple of things that I can tell you over here. One is that the mind has a tendency to focus on the unpleasant as compared to the pleasant. Like in general, like our mind has a negativity bias. What do I mean by that? Well, you see, you might go through like 100 transactions which are smooth and you don't even recognize them. Like you just don't see it. And man, we can run through 100 transactions so easily. It's like every day you're buying stuff. Like, bhai, you go buy sabji, you go buy fruits, it's a transaction. There is somebody who is running a business who's providing you something of value in exchange for cash. But now what is happening in that moment is that your mind is focusing only on the unpleasant transactions. So if there were 1,000 pleasant transactions and 3 unpleasant transactions, you're focusing entirely on those 3 unpleasant transactions. Like of that, credit card guy who is like trying to like get you into this, or that home loan fellow who's like, bhai, tum to matlab 10 lakh ka loan leke hi rahoge, right? So, and then you're like, man, shit, I need to get out of this, right? And so you see what happens is all the positive transactions are seamless. They're like so smooth. And so now one of the things that you want to do is you want to start consciously focusing on all your transactions. Like every time you're spending money, like you see what is happening. How did it go? And so you will see that you bought things for one reason only, because you felt like it. Whatever. No, it's not like whether you chose to buy mangoes, whether you chose to buy watermelon, whether you chose to buy a ticket to like a holiday or whatever it is, you did because you felt like it, not because someone talked you into it.
Yeah.
Like the fruit vendor didn't talk you into buying his mangoes. It's like you just felt like eating mangoes, right? And whatever, like somebody else selling dragon fruit, maybe you feel like eating it, maybe you don't. Whatever. It's like, but if the feeling is generated inside you, then you don't care. The dragon fruit might be like 100 rupees a piece, and the other thing might be 30 rupees a kilo. But if you feel like it, like, man, there's no absolute no. How are we making? Are we saying that it's like the mango is like 5 times sweeter than the dragon fruit? How the fuck can the dragon fruit be priced so much more? Be like, man, if I go to Vietnam, like the mangoes are like 3 times more expensive than the dragon fruit. Like, doesn't matter. Like, how are we making our decision? Is it based on the calories? Is it based on the sweetness? Is it based on like what? Nothing. It's just based on the feeling. Like, if you feel like getting yourself a dragon fruit, you'll get yourself a dragon fruit. And it doesn't matter. It might, like, if you feel like getting yourself a kiwi, like for me, for example, like if I look at strawberries, it's absurd to me. I'm like, bro, this is not even sweet. Like, why the fuck would I like pay cash for? But somebody else is. Like, I'm like, man, the bananas are like way better. Like they're like super sweet. Like if you let them ripen properly, they're like amazing. So why does anyone buy anything? Because you feel like it. So the first thing, you observe yourself. Like, because you're spending cash every day, right? You're getting into transactions every day. And so the first thing you can do is you can observe your own transactions. You can become more conscious of your own transactions. You can see every time I'm spending cash, like, because usually what is happening, every time you're spending cash, that transaction is so smooth, it is so effortless that it doesn't even register in your brain. And when you notice that, your objective then is to create the same thing in your business, to just make the whole thing smooth and effortless. And like, your job is not to sell something to somebody. It's just to create the environment where they feel like buying.
Yeah, this is what you do very well. Like, I know this is what I need to do, but how should I do it? Because like, you are telling me do it like I do it. So yeah, whatever you're saying is true. Whenever I'm spending money, I am observing all the signatures of energy in those transactions, and I'm giving with all the grace. And like, money giving has been like very easy for me. But like, whenever I am asking for money, that's the signature of that, like, energy signature is a little off. I can feel that.
Right, right. So that is just internal shift that needs to happen. Because when you see, because ultimately people can sense our energy really, really well.
Yeah,
And
and it happens.
yes, the words are just the medium. The words don't really matter so much.
Yeah.
Like, man, I've made sales where like I would literally be like, bro, let's fucking do it, right? And that's it. That's like my sales pitch, right? The end, right? And like, it's done, you know. It's like, and like, really, like, nothing else is happening in the sales pitch. And because the words aren't really that important. Because like, if we both can see that, hey, this can work out really well, like, you know, because I can see that, man, like, if you commit to me, then I can transform your brain. I fucking know it. Like, I know, I guarantee that I can shift your brain. I know I can change the programs in your brain. And I know that, you know, it's like changing the programs in your brain are like going to transform your life, like every part of your life. And I know that, like, you know, 75,000 bucks is like peanuts in order to like transform your brain. Like, I know it, and I know you know it, right? So just when I go into that conversation, like, if I step in like that, you know, it's like when I see that, okay, it makes sense for me to work with this person long term, then I'm not going in to make a sale. They're already my client. Like, I have already made the sale in my brain. Like, I've already assumed this person as my client. I'm like, we are already started. Right. And
Got it.
that's it. You know, it's like, so like, but see, you just have to run multiple iterations of it. Like, you know, you do it.
And I'm seeing like the focus really has to be on value. Like, I have filtered through like through the funnel. Now this is a very warm lead. I know that they have this problem. This is going to be of immense value to them. Now, in the offer phone call, the focus has to be on making this seamless so that the person can receive value and I can give value. My focus is on, okay, now in this call, I need to make the sale. I need to like commit her to paying such and such amount of money. That focus, I think, needs to be redirected. That's what I'm seeing.
Yes. And so it's just a question of practice, you know. It's like, I would say you can set yourself a target to make more offers, where one of the things that you want to do with making more offers is you just want to detach yourself from the outcome. Like, to reach a space where you feel so comfortably chill, you know, whether somebody says yes or no, it doesn't matter. You just tell them, bhai, yeah, this is the thing. And like, they say no, no, no. Because see, when we come in with that framework, ki, bhai, we need to make a sale. Like, I need this person to say yes, and I need this person to like send me like 50K or something, you know. It's like, so that's a very different mental frame that we're coming from.
Right.
But rather, like, when I become just very chill, being like, you know, it's like, hey man, this is what it is. Like, it's fine. Like, it's like, if it's not for you, like, just tell me right now, because I got to go.
Mm.
Like, I have other things to do. Like, don't say that I will think about it and all that stuff. Like, let's think right now on this call. Let's figure it out. It's perfectly, like, if it's a no, that's perfectly fine. Let's fix it right now. Let's make a decision. Like, if it's a no, I'm totally cool with that. Like, and genuinely, like, in my heart, like, to be like totally cool with that. Be like, yeah, sure, man. It's like, I have many other things. Like, I can play with my son. I don't have to be dealing with you, right? So, I mean, if I have to deal with you, then like, man, I have to like run my family, it's like, it's a thing. Like, I'm like, this is what it is, right? And you're just letting them know the truth. You're like, I have, like, either I could play with my son or I could be talking to you. Like, yeah, I love playing with my son so much that I play with him for free. Like, if I want to like work with you, then it's not the same, right? It's going to be 50K for 3 months. That's what it is. Like,
Wow.
take it or leave it. That's fine. But just tell me right now.
Got it. Thank you so much, Vishnu.
Pleasure,
That-
brother.
So
All right.
just a quick follow-up question.
Yes.
Is, what if they say, because there are a lot of people who say, I'll get back to you, send me the information, I'll come back to you, and they never do.
Oh, yeah,
So
that
what
is for
if they-
sure. Like, if they say I will get back to you, they will never get back. So for me,
Correct.
when they say that, that means it's a no, right?
It's
So, but I will not let them off the hook. Like, I will immediately, I'll be like, yo, okay, what is there for you to think about? Like, I tell them that, yo, see, I'm on this call with you to create clarity. So, like, what are your questions? Let's figure it out. And the thing is, usually, see, when they say I will get back to you, this is usually happening after you have told them the price.
yeah.
Until that point, everything is fine. They're like, oh,
Until
yeah,
that
everything
point,
is-
they want everything. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, and then you tell the price, and then they're like, oh, okay, I'll get back to you. So
And
now it's not,
sometimes they say, I want to buy it, but just give me a day to think over it.
what's there to think over?
Yeah.
Right? And so there are different things that you can do, right? So first thing is, I just don't let it off the hook. If somebody says I will like think about it, like, no, man, that's not happening. We're going to like think right now. Like, in this call, we're going to finalize it. Yes or no,
it
doesn't
feel
matter.
a bit pushy though?
Not at all. Like, I don't want to waste my time, It's like, I don't have the mental energy and the bandwidth that, it's like, I'll follow up with you tomorrow. Like, right now I have the, like, man, it's like, I value my time as well. Like, I
Right.
got on a call with you, right? And I'm having this conversation with you. I want it to come to an end. And if you don't want it, that's perfectly fine with me. But I want to finish it right now so that I can go ahead and live my life.
Got it.
I don't want to be mentally stuck in this space that, man, I want to like follow up with this client, or like, should I send him an email? Should I send him a message? Should I be like, hey, did you
Correct.
think about it? Like, I don't want to do all of those things. I
I
want
get
to,
caught in that trap.
yeah, because that wastes my time and energy.
Yeah, it does.
And so either ways, I'm like, we're finishing it right now.
Okay, so make a decision right now, basically.
Yes. And being chill with receiving a no.
Yeah, being chill with even if they say no. Like, one can even tell them that if it's a no, it's fine with me. But let's just make a decision right now. Or you ask me what is stopping you. What is it that you need to
So
think?
what I usually do is, like, rather than see, because usually people don't want to think. Okay, like, thinking is the hardest work. Thinking is what we are actually being paid for, actually.
I
That's-
thought
that's a-
everybody's overthinking.
they're not really thinking, they're just repetitively playing
Yeah,
out the
Not
patterns of their mind.
consciously.
They're not thinking, it's like they just watch the TV and then they have like TV thoughts
They're
in their
being
brain.
taught.
Yeah, it's like they consume some propaganda and then they run that propaganda in their brain. That's all they're doing. So thinking is actually a very difficult, laborious task. And as an entrepreneur, this is our fundamental responsibility. This is what we're being paid money for, to think.
Okay.
Like, we are solving our clients' problems for a
Problems.
price.
Yeah.
Right. Because they like, it's not like they don't have the information that we don't have. It's not like everybody has Google.
Hmm.
Everybody can solve every problem in the world.
That's true.
Right. So why is somebody paying us money anyways? Because like, you've spent more time thinking about their problem than they have.
Yeah.
Right. So now this is one of their problems, because again, like, which is that in that moment of closing the sale, they are not like using, they don't like, if we put the ball in their court, we're like, okay, you think about it. Like, you're making them do something they don't want to naturally do, thinking. You got to do the thinking for them. So when somebody says, I will think about it and get back to you, I'll straight away say, what's there to think about? Is it the price? Because man, you were like enthu about it like 2 minutes ago. The only thing that changed in the last 2 minutes is that I told you the price. Right? And they will like, see, now if I leave it vague, because people are like, a bit about this topic, about price and like money and stuff like that.
money and all that.
So
Yeah.
it's not their responsibility to be like, like full open chill. There's like, it's our responsibility. Like
Mhm.
we have to be chill with the topic of money. That's our internal work, where we should not be like, angst about like, talking about the topic of money. Because if we have that energy, then we're definitely communicating that energy to the other person.
Correct.
So we have to be chill, right? And so moment they say that, like I'll straight away say that, hey, what's there to talk about? Like, is it money? Is that the issue for you? And when I ask it that way, when I'm like direct to the point, straight, right? They be like, yeah. Then I'll be like, oh, okay, what's the problem? Like, it's like, hey, I don't want you to not, because see, at that point, we have already agreed that this is something that is really valuable for you. And we can all both see that you're definitely going to benefit from this stuff. And you're going to benefit a lot more than what you're paying. Right? So now, if that's the case, and if it's come to that, then I'll be like, okay, hey, like, is this the only issue? Right? And if that's like, yes, then like, I'll be like, hey, I don't want you to not get this benefit just because of the price. You tell me what works for you. Right? And personally, I'm very flexible. Like I'm chill, it's like, I'm like, okay, you pay whenever, like after they've paid me like the first deposit, then I don't really care, it's like they pay me whenever. Like, I'm not like the type who like start following up with people that, hey man, did you like send the cash or like, it's like, because so in that moment, so I'm just getting to a yes. So what works for you? Like, is it like, you can pay like, 20K now, 20K later, and like whatever it is, what works for you? And now if you want to like create a little bit more, like just to make sure that, it's like, you can say that this offer is available only for today. Like, let's say if you choose to, finalize today, you can pay in parts. If you want to come back to me later, then you have to pay the whole thing in one go. Like if you tell me tomorrow, then whatever it is, it's like 50K, 60K, whatever it is, pay it in one go. So that you're like, because again, like as I said, we're just valuing our own time and energy as well. Like I don't want to be sitting and making a list of people that I need to like follow up with. Like if I'm having this call, I want to close this call right now. By the end of this call, it's over for both of us. We're on the same page, and then we can start our new journey together or not. And that's fine either ways.
Makes sense.
Cool.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
I think Prab left the call actually, but I wanted to kind of add to his question. Like one thing is practice, feeling comfortable with money, talking about it. Another thing is intention, and maybe even stating intention. Like my goal on this call, or my goal with you, is that you find the healing that you're looking for. If that's with me or that's with somebody else, cool. But I think one of the most important things, which I think you do amazingly, it's like something you talked about with frequency. It's like when you are really on the high frequency, it's like people really feel, it's like they want to get on your jet plane. You know what I mean? When you are on the bicycle and you're, you know what I mean? And then it's like, oh, maybe I can carry you a little bit. And if we try, you know what I mean? It's like really working on your frequency to such a level that any conversation, 1 minute conversation, half an hour, people feel lucky to be in your space. And I think you do that really well, Vishnu. Like you always bring this really energetic, really, yes, brother, really high frequency, where it's like, it always feels like a privilege to talk to you. It feels like a privilege to listen to what you're saying. And it feels like a privilege to work with you, like a privilege to spend money with you. And I feel like that's where you really need to be in order to really quickly make those sales, where you jump that frequency, where you really feel like anyone I'm talking to is lucky for my time because I have so much value to offer them. You know what I mean? And if you don't see that, I hope you find it with the right person, but keep it moving because the rest of the world's waiting on you. You know what I mean? So it's like really raising your frequency that much that it's that visible, that obvious, that like joining forces with you is such a upgrade, immediate upgrade to where they already are, you know. Like I said, I think Prab's gone, but you know, kind of the thoughts that I had with that, you know.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Feels good. Yay. All right.
Definitely second that.
Okay. Cool. So with that, any other questions, thoughts, sharings? Thank you all for being here with me all the way till this time. Like, love you guys. Yeah.
Nearly 3 hours.
Love
Yeah,
you
it's
all too.
amazing. Yeah. Also, I love the energy of this group. It's really cool. You know, it's like I find like I love all of you guys. Like I know many of people have left by now, but it's really nice. You know, the energy exchange I feel over here is like really nice. Makes me happy as well.
Super. We love you too.
All right. Okay then, guys. Ciao. I will see you guys on Saturday. This Saturday, I will see you for sure.
Thanks to you all. Take care.
Pleasure. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.